Andrew Beer,
Stephen Logan,
the head honcho, the concertmaster himself. Okay, so I want to talk to you about the opera and concert that's coming up.
Yeah.
So, it's a huge play.
Yeah.
How many first violins do you have?
We have 14 first violins, 7 stands.
And total violins, first and seconds?
Should be, 14 plus 12, 26.
So, from the time that you are told, hey, we're doing die tote Stadt, and you get parts, what is the preparation between when that happens and the first rehearsal look like?
Yeah, so the first thing, we just wait for the parts to get here, which is not easy for something like Korngold because it's not performed that often. And then I take a look at them and see how the bowings look. Sometimes there'll be marking, down bow, up bow, bowings. Sometimes there'll be a lot in there, sometimes not. This time there was, so that's great. So there's less work to do. But Korngold, this opera is so difficult. It's one of the most difficult operas I've ever played. So when you're doing bowings, there's sort of stylistic things like make it sound as good as you can and make it as easy as it can. So for Korngold, it goes totally to the make it as easy as it can, which is still very difficult.
Yeah.
So that's the first step, and then goes to the other section leaders. They do that, and then the parts can go to everybody.
Wow.
Nice and early. It takes a lot of practice.
Yeah. How long before a first rehearsal would you start practicing for something like this?
Well, I'm a father now, so not as early as I'd like, but ideally a couple of weeks at least, maybe more. More. Most things I could get away with a day or two in advance, but this really takes weeks minimum.
Yeah,
minimum.
For sure.
Yeah.
I feel like for me the challenge is that it feels like there's a new tempo every 2 bars. It ebbs, it flows, and I feel like playing the thousands of notes that you're playing while also keeping an eye up enough to know to navigate that and also be responsible for a section. So can you explain a little bit how that negotiation kind of works with like yes, there's, you said 14 first violins?
Yeah.
But at the same time everyone plays for themselves, and what is that dynamic like, especially in something like this when there's just so much happening that you can't really you don't have time to turn around and be like, hey, so I think we're going to do this. Like, how does that work in a situation like this?
Yeah, this is an extreme. I think this is probably the hardest thing APO's played in at least 6 or 7 years. So I think I'm just really there to support everybody, and we're all supporting each other. Yeah. It's so difficult that it's probably unlikely that anybody could play everything right. So it's really strength in numbers. Awesome. Sometimes somebody's really focused, they're nailing everything, then the other person does. So as much as I can facilitate that. Yeah.
So if you were talking to someone that has never seen an opera before, what about this opera is really cool and really worth seeing from a violinist perspective?
Yeah, this is a fantastic opera. I wish it would be played more. I suspect one of the reasons it's not is that the parts are not very good. Okay. It's the handwritten parts are very difficult to read. Doesn't make sense logically, visually sometimes. Yes. I wish somebody would make a new edition of it, and that would help a lot. But anyway, it's incredible music. He was 22 when he wrote it, but it's genius. And you hear a lot of influences of like Wagner, Strauss. I even hear like some Janacek in there, tons of stuff. Yeah. But then you also hear the prototype of Hollywood music, which is the Korngold sound. So it's all these other composers, but it's his own sound. And it's beautiful. It's really difficult for us to play, but for the audience, it's really nice to listen to. So I hope a ton of people are going to come.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, question for you. Yeah. If you were stranded on a desert island with one of your colleagues, who would it be? And why?
You, of course. Hey! Because you're interviewed.
Okay, you're stranded on a desert island and you can only listen to 3 pieces of music. What are those 3 pieces of music?
Oh, that's really difficult. I do love my operas, and I love ones like Porgy and Bess. Of course, it's amazing. Messiaen, St. Francis, weird stuff like that. But then you balance that with Beethoven symphonies, which you never get tired of. Yeah, I'm a big Ligeti fan. Nice. And Ligeti, so I definitely put the Violin Concerto and anything by Ligeti. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to plug? Anything that's exciting that's coming up for you that you want to talk about?
Yeah, there's something next year. I can't say what it is yet, but I think it's exciting, and it should be the Southern Hemisphere premiere of a concerto. So
that you're playing.
Yeah, hopefully, let's hope so. Yeah.
Yes, we want that to happen. Awesome, Andrew. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Stephen.
Looking forward to the show.
Yeah, me too.